You can literally find everything, and I do mean everything that the Bible teaches. You can learn the ins and the outs, the ups and the downs. You can find out everything that God is trying to communicate, how he wants you to apply his words, the meaning behind those things. And so all you've got to do is just show up tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll cover all of the tools that you can go over, the ones that are pertinent for you in Logos. We're going to cover tools such as the Bible Books Explorer. We're going to look at possibly how you cite certain things in Greek. As a matter of fact, I'm promising you this. You are going to receive something free of charge that is, one, expensive, valuable, and useful. I'll give you a hint. It's about Greek. You will learn how to use the tools of Greek. And so when we cover something in the Bible and we look up a word, you don't just look up the word, you'll find out how the word is used. You'll find out all the different pertinent information regarding the Greek, the verb tenses, moods, voices. The same thing with the nouns, what case it's in, nominative, genitive, things that you don't even have any idea what I'm speaking of. You will learn how to actually use those things as well. Whether you are a novice at it, you've never seen Greek before, or you want to become proficient at it. We're going to give you something. If you simply show up tomorrow and join, you're going to get a free membership trial for this. So there's no cost to you. All you got to do is do what you normally do, which is show up to a Smart Christians live stream with my guest, that is Scott Lindsay of Logos, and myself. And I promise you, you will get so much out of this. Plus, you are going to get an expensive tool for free. And I know what you're thinking. You've heard people make these little claims before that you're going to learn something new, something great. I promise you, you're going to get a tool that is going to benefit you. Now, you know me. I've covered a lot of different passages going into the Hebrew, going into the Greek. It is not the Hebrew or the Greek that brings you closer to the Lord. It is not what you know, but who you know. However, who you know, that is the Lord, is going to cause you to want to learn more about him. In other words, it's going to increase your desire about what you know. And knowing his word intimately. You've heard the statement, there's always something lost in translation. Well, that's true. Whether it be the Hebrew being translated into English or the Greek being translated in English, there's always something that's lost that you don't quite get, and you have to rely on a preacher, a teacher, or some translator to bring this out. When you look at the Hebrew, when you look at the Greek, when you turn around and look at the English, the translation, what you're looking at is someone else's idea or their thought, what they believe the word is best translated as. In other words, what you're looking at when you look at the English, you are looking at literally a commentary. What the translators thought would be the best word for this Greek word in English. But since language changes over time, it morphs. Words such as cool or fine or bank, they can have several meanings, or like the word cool or bad, it can transfer over time. It can become something different over time. It can increase its meaning. In other words, cool used to mean temperature. Now it means temperature and something that's good or nice. Or I'm fine. How are you feeling? Oh, I'm cool. So the same thing can happen. So how do we translate words from an ancient Eastern text into a Western understanding if you are in a Western culture? The point is to get this to convey to you in the way that you can understand the message. And let me give you an example. When I look at a passage like John 5:24, and folks can debate it, but if you read the Greek, it helps out a whole lot. Just like other passages that if you understand the Hebrew, a lot is brought out. You would hear someone say it this way, that the English is fine. The English is perfectly fine. It's like black and white, or you can even say it's in color. But when you look at the Greek, you're now looking in 4K, HD, 3D, what have you. Whatever you want to add to it, it becomes more apparent in the Greek because you can see the Greek verbs, the voices, the tense, the moods, all the different nuances that you might see in the Greek that you wouldn't see in the English. Same thing with the Hebrew, whether it be the nouns or not. What about if something is in Hebrew and it's a call verb, or it's a piel, or it's a pual, or it's a hithal? What does that mean to you? Well, it's the difference between something just being broken or something being utterly smashed. You want to see that in the text. And so in John 5:24, you no longer, from now on, you no longer have to listen to what I say or someone else says, their interpretation of the Greek text. After tomorrow, you will be able to do it on your own. If that doesn't excite you, I don't know what will. Let me give you an example. In John 5:24, you can see to the right, I have the Greek. This is kind of my personal setup. I've got here the actual text. Over here at the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the Hebrew text, but since we're not dealing with Hebrew, you won't see it. But what I do have here, I have just my regular Hebrew text. I've got my Greek interlinear. I've got I've got two different lexicons, and so I think I'm set up pretty well. Then up top, I've got my Greek New Testament. I've got two different actually three different lexicons, and another Greek word study. And then over here, I've got if I want to look up a particular word for a word study, I also have a commentary, a New Bible commentary. I've got another commentary. As a matter of fact, I've got a bunch of commentaries linked up over here, as well as I like this particular book. This is called D.A. Carson's Exegetical Fallacies. That may not mean anything to you, but after tomorrow, as you start to learn, as I give you this tool for free, you're going to appreciate that as well. Then I've got my different books. I've got the NASB. I've got the Net Bible if I want to pull down the King James Version, New King James, NIT, just kind of do a cross-reference. If I want to chart the Greek verbs, so be it. If I want to do a smart search, which we'll talk about tomorrow, this is one of the most invaluable tools that you'll ever have. If I want to just look up how different passages kind of intersect and connect, I can do that. But let's go back over here to John 5:24. We've covered this before, and we're going to do some homework over this on Patreon. But briefly here, truly, amen, lego, humen hati ha tan lagan. So truly, I'm saying to you that the word of mine, whoever's hearing the word of mine, we've got two definite articles, ha, tan, so this ha goes to this akuon, which is so the one that's hearing the words of mine and believing the one that sent me, to pimsati, the one that sent me, eke, he has, and here is what's valuable. By the way, you'll notice even if you're not that proficient, what's coming up is you're going to see these words show up. And so, for example, pimsati, which is this word, you'll see that it is a verb. It's an aorist active participle, singular, dative, masculine. That's what it functions as if it's a participle as a noun. So we've got this, we've got it function as a noun, but it's in the dative case for this particular noun, just like akuon is also a participle and is function as what we call a substantival participle. You can learn these things and, okay, this makes sense to me. But here's the part that I think is so absolutely wonderful. And he says, the one believing in the one who sent me, he has right now life into the ages. And into eis chrising, which is into judgment, uk erkatai. Into judgment he will not come. But, now this word Allah is the word but. However, it points to the contrary of a different nature. Not just but. Now, but is always a word of contrast, but the contrast with this word adds a little bit more to it. But instead of that, rather than that, metababakin, which is a perfect tense, we can find out what a perfect tense is. It's the perfect tense, metababakin, ektu thanatu, which is rather than that, you've already passed out of death. You have life and have already passed out of death, and you've already passed into life. This is a past action. This metababakin is a past completed action from the past. And Jesus says that you have already passed out of death. You'll never go into judgment, according to this text. And not only that, you already have life, and so you are going in, or you've already passed into life. What kind of life? Eternal life, as it's been described. So now you can take my word for it and you can rejoice, but how much better is it not to have to rely on someone else to show you what this means, because they could be wrong. They could say it in such a way that you could be deceived. But if you have the tools for yourself, and if you can learn how to put these together to know what is being spoken of in Isaiah, how it relates to Romans, how it relates to Acts, how it relates to what Paul is saying in 1st or 2nd Corinthians, how does some of these prophetic things that are happening that are spoken of some of the other prophets, how it relates to what Paul is saying to the church in Thessalonica, you can have the tools for yourself. That's why you see this banner that I put up, love it, learn it, live it. Love it so much that you'll learn it so much that you're better able to live it, which means you're also better able to convey it for other people. And so when I say, and I give you this promise that you can know or have access to everything the Bible teaches, how to find everything the Bible teaches. I'm not just saying anything. I really do mean this, because you can. You can have everything the Bible teaches. The question is, do you want it? And if so, please make sure that you join us tomorrow with my guest, Scott Lindsay of Logos, at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. You are under no obligation, but you will walk away with something for free just by showing up. Now, I think that's a good deal. Amen.